Up next, we had Alex Pereira versus Jan Blachowicz. I had also predicted Alex Pereira taking this one, but I had also said KO, which that didn't come to fruition, but I did predict the win.
I picked Jan by decision was my pick, which I stand by.
You were close.
Camijo agreed.
Yeah.
He gave it to Jan by decision.
And, that first round with that takedown, I was like, oh, this is what I was scared of. I was scared of Jan taking him down, having that control up top, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was super nervous before the second round started.
Remember what I said? I was like, Jan is going to grapple. We know he's going to grapple. He'd be stupid not to. But my question was, I mean, at sea level, I think he takes this fight pretty easily. But I was like, he's not necessarily a grappler. There's wrestlers who, when they're exhausted, they can still hit those transitions. They can still hit those takedowns because that's like, it's in their DNA at that point. They've done it their whole lives. When they're exhausted, they can still wrestle. It's the same reason why, training jiu-jitsu and stuff, you do round after round after round, you're exhausted, or you drill or you work out at the beginning of class until you're exhausted. Then you start doing jiu-jitsu, because if you could do it when you're exhausted, you could do it when you're fresh. And if you get tired, you're not a fish out of water, right? Yeah. So I was worried. I was like, at elevation, that's not Jan's like bread and butter. It's not in his DNA. Yeah. He might gas himself out trying to grapple, but I'll still pick him. And then he did. And then because after that first round, he takes him down. It was beautiful too, because I was like, is he going to force takedowns, or is he going to stand and trade with him a little bit, make him comfortable, and then get the takedowns? Because that's ultimately how he was so successful against Izzy with it. And the first kick, I think it was the first kick that Pereira threw, he caught it and ran him to the fence and then worked the takedown. And I was like, that works too. Why stand and trade if you don't need to? Catch the kick. Right. And then he eventually does get the takedown. It was a nice takedown. Ends up on his back. Threatens a couple times with chokes. I thought Alex did a fantastic job this round. Yeah. He did a fantastic job, not trying to explode, not freaking out to get back up, try to get him off his back. He just fought the hands calmly, took the round off almost. And I think that was a big difference maker, because in the second round, you could see how much energy Jan had expelled trying to get the choke, trying to stay on his back. Because in that position where he's half on the side there with the body triangle, that's constant flexing. Your body is working trying to keep that position, whereas Pereira is kind of just on a knee, fighting the hands, calm. Yeah, exactly. And you could see he was much fresher in the second round. And it looked like he could have almost got Jan out of there in that second round at a certain point. Jan had his back to the fence. He looked exhausted. He did a great job nullifying the left hook of Pereira. I mean, it was basically not a weapon in this fight for Pereira. In fact, Jan's left hook was very good. He landed more left,
especially when he would lead with it.
Alex. Yeah, he looked really good with that. So I had it split going into the third round. Is that what you had?
Yes.
Yeah, one
absolutely.
To Jan,
I had it the exact same way.
Alex. Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. And then in that third round,
very interesting round.
It seemed like Jan was starting to get a little bit of a second wind. He definitely seemed more tired in that second round. And I also think that he was hurt a little bit by Pereira. So that might have also contributed to that. But he did look a little bit fresher in the third than he did in the second. The trading back and forth to me was pretty even. And I know that there was a takedown, but he didn't do very much with that takedown. So it just like makes me wonder, what exactly was it that edged it over for Pereira? Was it just the fact that they felt like his shots were larger shots, that they did more damage? What was
I think it was body language. I think because Jan looked exhausted, it looked like he was losing. And look, I need to rewatch it. I was going to rewatch the third round this morning, and I didn't get a chance to. But in the moment, I thought Jan took that round because Alex did outstrike him in that round, but it was very close. It was really close. And while Jan did look exhausted, you could see every time he was landing on Pereira, the head was snapping around, I think Alex did land 2 very hard jabs that round that snapped Jan's head back.
Yep.
But there was no like clear edge in damage, in my opinion. It was a very close round, stand up wise. And if it's super close and you get a takedown with 40 seconds of control to end the round, damage is the number one criteria. Number two is effective striking and effective grappling, and those are scored the same.
Mm.
If the damage is negligible, because there was a couple flurries that Jan was throwing, like you said, where he would lead with that left hand or that left hook, and then he'd come in and he'd dart in with that uppercut. As Pereira was like, I mean, he was snapping his head back too in that third round, but there was no clear, oh, that was a damaging shot where no one got rocked. It was very close.
Yeah.
Plus effective grab. I know they say all the time now, oh, he got a takedown, but he didn't do any damage with it, so it doesn't mean anything. No, no, no. It doesn't not mean anything. It's still effective grappling, and
Mm.
it's scored the same as effective striking. It's just that's without damage included in the criteria. But if the damage is even, it's supposed to go to effective grappling and effective striking, and even that was even. You could argue this was a 10-10 round, honestly. It was a very interesting round.
It was.
Regen says, I thought Jan had got that. It was close, though. Jan fought like he wanted it more in the third. Alex did not. Yeah, it was a very interesting round from Alex. I'm sure he was exhausted too, right at elevation. But it was more like he was bouncy and stuff like that. And I think those optics are what got him that round. I really do. Um, I
I'm
know
excited though. I'm
most.
happy you won.
Oh, yeah, me too. It was just a very interesting fight. It was kind of a weird fight, you
This
know?
sets up Yijiri Prohaska
Yeah.
versus Alex Pereira. In that fight, let's
Mhm.
make it at sea level, please.
Yeah. Okay. Can we
That
not do heavyweights or light heavyweights ever at elevation? What are we doing?
Let's not.
I thought we learned this with UFC Denver, UFC Mexico City. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, dude. Cain
Every time
Velasquez.
they're like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm done doing this," and then they do it again. Roy
Sea level
Nelson,
Cain,
Roy
not
Nelson,
high
and in
elevation.
Denver. Who thought
Yeah.
that was a good idea?
But
Regen
yeah,
says Alex winning is definitely better for the division, and that's a hard agree. And I'm not saying this is a
and
robbery or anything.
it
It was
was
very
better for my
close.
picks too, because I
It
picked
was.
Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Parabéns,
By
parabéns,
knockout.
Boatan. Yes. So I'm super excited. I did say by
Yeah.
knockout,
No, but
but
come on.
ultimately I called the win. Come on.
The name matters more than the method. The method is definitely cooler when you get it, like the Gaethje knockout. It definitely adds
Yeah,
like some flair to that pick, but the
yeah.
name is ultimately what matters. You know?
There's a reason I texted you about the Gaethje KO. I didn't text you about Alex Pereira. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Regent says
Oh
I got
man,
Yidri in that fight, and I agree. I think
me
Yidri, if
too.
he comes, it depends, right? He's been out for a long time. Um, the shoulder surgery is a tough one to recover from. You get a torn shoulder and you get that repaired. It's sometimes never the same. But if there's
Dude, word on the
anybody who can
streets
come back from that,
is Izzy Prohaska's been smashing that shoulder into trees, trying to
yeah,
just toughen it up and make it better. So
yeah,
he's
he's out there
fine.
in like weird ass like warehouses punching shit. He's climbing mountains. Like I
Yeah,
think if anybody can come back and have like ring rust and injury questions, if anybody it shouldn't affect, it's Yidri. You
yeah.
know, I also, um,
He's gonna come back in a sling, and we're just like, oh, we're way off,
yeah,
walking out in a
I
sling
also,
and stuff.
I also think positioning wise, Yidri will get Alex in weird positions where he can grapple with him, like he did with Glover.
Mm.
And I think, like I said, at sea level, I think Jan takes this fight. I think he doesn't get as exhausted and he can mix in the takedowns better. But
Yeah, beautiful timing too. Like there's this one where Alex steps in for a lead right hook,
oh yeah,
and right when he stepped in, the level changed, man, and it was such an easy
hmm
takedown for Jan. And I was just thinking to myself, like, man, he had his timing down. And like you
yeah.
said, if he would have mixed it up just a little bit more, I think it would have been an easy one for Jan.
Well, I think remember I said in this, I was like, what I would do if I was Jan, because you have to trick them into thinking that you're going to strike with them, because the takedown can't be obvious. They can't know it's coming, right? And I was like, dude, they both have such good leg kicking game that if they just if he just plays that leg kick game with them and he gets Alex being like, you're going to leg kick me, I'll leg kick you back, and they keep trading those, that will
Yeah,
set up the takedown so well. And that's exactly how the second round started. They were just trading leg kicks, and eventually he took him down, and I was like, oh, dude. I was all feeling myself. I'm like, I'm a fucking psychic, dude. And then Alex Pereira was like, I'm just gonna get up, and then I'm gonna hurt him with my
That's
hands.
hilarious.
I was like, maybe not.
But it was a good fight.
It was a good fight.
And like Regent said, I think Alex Pereira winning is actually something that's really good for the division. Yeah, makes it more exciting.
Do they do? If Yidri isn't ready, do you think they do Ankalaev versus Pereira? Because I think there's no way Pereira wins that fight.
Oh man, I don't know.
I think they're burnt out on Ankalaev.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what he did to piss them off that much, but
we saw what he did against Jan.
Yeah, a 10-8 round in the fifth round.
Yeah. I don't know. But I'm fine with him not getting the title shot and us just waiting.
I know, dude. Yidri versus Alex is a fucking banger.
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody, thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.